Talk to almost anyone buying a home in Southeastern Massachusetts, the South Shore, or Cape Cod, and they will tell you the same thing. The timeline from an accepted offer to the final closing signature often feels like it's stretching indefinitely. Buyers spend weeks pouring their emotions into finding a house that feels right, yet the actual mechanics of the transaction rely entirely on a sequence of routine administrative tasks. Why do these basic steps, like reviewing paperwork and scheduling appointments, so often drag on for months, steadily draining away a buyer's momentum? The real estate process isn't inherently slow due to the market. Rather, it is a disorganized system that is highly susceptible to friction. To engineer a much faster timeline, we have to identify exactly where a transaction loses its momentum. The initial loss of momentum happens at the very beginning, caused by the piecemeal problem during lender preparation. Watch what happens when a buyer submits financial documents, pay stubs, W-2s, tax returns, and bank statements, one piece at a time. The workflow constantly stops and starts. Notice how this timeline stretches horizontally, accumulating days of wasted time before a buyer even tours a home. Moving the timeline forward to the moment an offer is accepted, we hit the second bottleneck, the paperwork lag. Slow buyer responses to time-sensitive documents, like purchase and sale agreements, disclosures, or condo paperwork, act as massive speed bumps for the legal and financial teams. These front-end delays are not just minor inconveniences, they are structural roadblocks that force the entire process to pause, killing the transaction's momentum early. That brings us to the most disruptive structural bottleneck of the transaction, the inspection and appraisal gap. If a buyer waits to schedule a home inspection, that missed deadline delays the generation of the report. The failure state cascades downward, which halts all negotiations. Waiting for those negotiations to clear means the appraisal is pushed back by a full week. The timeline results from compounding variables like piecemeal documents, the paperwork lag, the inspection gap, last-minute financial changes, and disconnected communication. A 90-day closing cycle isn't a result of bad luck. It is the mathematical consequence of these compounding frictions left unchecked. What happens when a buyer successfully engineers that friction out of the system to utilize a fast-track approach? A few months ago, a motivated buyer in Lakeville reached out with a specific goal: close as quickly as possible without the usual delays. The execution was precise. The buyer had every financial document prepared up front and scheduled the home inspection within 48 hours of offer acceptance. Because the buyer, agent, lender, and attorney remained tightly coordinated, the appraisal came back clean in a week. The transaction was finalized in exactly 28 days. The Lakeville story proves that a rapid closing is a product of deliberate coordination, not market luck. Avoiding a drawn-out closing requires treating your real estate agent not just as a property salesperson, but as a project manager and process engineer. A dependable guide actively prevents the transaction from stalling by demanding proactive preparation, ensuring rapid response times, and anticipating dependencies early. Lou Corcoran at Better Living Real Estate serves as the essential partner for executing this system across the South Shore, South Coast, and Cape Cod markets. With expert guidance running this 30-day fast-track plan, the journey from pre-approval to the final walkthrough becomes smooth and entirely predictable. When systemic friction is finally removed from the equation, finalizing the purchase of your next home is significantly closer than you think.